The man slept in the bathroom with his son. When someone knocked on the door, he covered his son's ears and propped his foot against the door to block it. It was all because Chris had been unemployed for a long time. He had no money to pay the rent, and his wife had even kicked him out. A few years earlier, Chris had spent all his savings on a batch of medical scanners, hoping to make a big profit by selling them. Soon, however, he realized that these scanners were only slightly more accurate than X-rays, but twice as expensive. No matter how good he was at selling, no hospital was willing to buy them. Now, he owed 2 months' rent, and his car had been towed away. His wife was forced to work 2 jobs, and her temper grew increasingly short. Life weighed on both of them, leaving them gasping for breath. Then he came to a place where everyone was smiling. He stopped a man driving a luxury car.
What do you do and how do you do it?
The man told him he was a stockbroker. All you needed was to be good with numbers and good at talking. The next day, Chris went to apply for an internship, but without a degree or experience, the HR manager turned him down. Chris didn't give up though. He waited for the HR manager downstairs at the company, but the manager paid no attention to him. As the manager was about to get in his car and leave, Chris had no choice but to say he was going the same way, and got in with him. Chris talked nonstop in the car, trying to sell himself, but the manager only cared about the Rubik's Cube in his hand. Seeing this, Chris made a bet with the manager. If he could solve the Rubik's Cube before the car reached its destination, the manager would give him a chance. The manager didn't believe him. After all, even mathematicians took 30 minutes, and there were only 10 minutes left in the drive. But soon, the manager couldn't keep smiling. As the car pulled up, Chris finished solving the cube right on time. Shortly after, Chris realized the manager hadn't paid the taxi fare. He had to ask the driver to go back to their original location. Unable to afford the fare, he had no choice but to run away. The angry driver chased him to the subway station. Chris grabbed his scanner and rushed into a subway train in a panic, only to have the scanner get stuck outside the train doors. He could do nothing but scream in frustration. One day, he was painting the walls at home when the police suddenly showed up, asking him to pay a fine. With no other option, he handed over the last of his money. But the check couldn't be verified at the bank until the next morning, and he wasn't allowed to leave until then. Yet he had an interview the next day. No matter how much he begged, the police refused to meet any of his requests. Even so, the moment he was released, he ran to the company for the interview. His clothes were still covered in paint, making him look extremely shabby. When shaking hands with the interviewers, they didn't even want to look at him directly. The interviewers tried to drive him away with professional questions, but Chris made it clear even if he didn't know the answers, he swore he would find them. The last question:
if a guy walked in for an interview without a shirt on, and I hired him, what would you say?
He must have had on some really nice pants.